Okay. Good afternoon, respected teachers, mentor, guests, proud parents, and beloved students. Welcome to the students' individual presentation for Year 9 Culminating Project. Thank you for coming today. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. I'm Tian Subiasti, and I'll be your moderator for this session. After going through the journey of middle school for the past 3 years, all of the Year 9 students will go through Culminating Project. This project also a medium for the student to demonstrate the Cikal competencies and have developed throughout the years. They investigated the need of the community and then proposed an action to solve the issue. Today, we will present their journey from the past 6 months in doing this project. But before we begin the individual presentation, let me give you a picture of what to expect for the next hour to hour. We have a few students from Year 9 that will present the Culminating Project, and each student will have maximum 10 minutes. After all of the presenters are done, we will open up the questions and answer session. And the audience here are more than welcome to ask questions to the presenter during question and answer session. This year's theme for the project is transforming passion into impactful action, aiming to achieve their targeted dimension, competencies and dimension. We see in this Culminating Project as one of the ways to elevate the student creativity by solving issues that they present in the city. I think that's enough for a brief explanation about the concept of Culminating Project. Now let's go on to the presentation part. In this third session, we have a few students in here. Okay. We have Kinar. Hello, Kinar.
Hi, Miss.
Hello. Okay. I think you can turn on the camera. And we have Tokyo. Hello, Tokyo.
Hi, Miss.
Okay. And then we have Emir in here. Hello, Emir.
Hai, Bu.
Hello. Okay, next. Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Okay. And then one more student, we have Faye that will present in this session. Okay. Right. So welcome to all of the presenters for the third session. And then let's continue to the presentation. And please give a warm welcome everyone for our first presenter, Anindita Kinar.
Oh my God.
My culminating project process was a roller coaster. With countless sleepless nights, this project challenged me to my limits. But now that it's over, I'm proud to finally present my work. Greetings and welcome to everybody. My name is Anindita Kinar Utami, and today I present my culminating project, Trouble Through Adolescence. Before diving into my project, I would like to provide the audience with a brief explanation of what adolescence is. Spanning from the ages of 12 to 19, adolescence is the transitional period between childhood and adulthood. It is a critical developmental stage when people experience rapid social, mental, and physical growth in preparation for the rest of their lives. During this time, people are bound to encounter numerous difficulties and troubles. By extension, their well-being and health are affected. As an adolescent myself, I navigate through this stage and watch my peers navigate through it as well. This, alongside my curiosity and interest, inspired me to center my CP around this topic. My main project goal was to express adolescent troubles in a palatable way. I aim to integrate my pre-existing skills in digital art with my experience and knowledge from living as a teenager by creating a website and mini booklet comprised of 8 artworks that depict various adolescent troubles. Behind my final project was months of work and planning. Before diving into my work, I divided my workload into 3 manageable stages. The first, product drafting, the second, researching, and third, production. My first step was product drafting. This stage was where I finalized my product idea, topic, and plan. This step caused quite a bit of headache. Initially, I planned on creating a mini webcomic about bodily insecurity and eventual acceptance, but scrapped this idea after a few months of planning. After that, I became vastly unsure of what my products would look like. From children's books to art collections, I juggled countless ideas before settling on the concept of TTA, Troubles Through Adolescence. My thought process raised that I wanted to complete my project efficiently and stress-free. One way I could achieve this was by integrating my pre-existing skills and knowledge into my project. I chose the topic of adolescence because since it's something I frequently encountered and can relate to. As for the media, digital art has been a favorite hobby of mine. I need to take advantage of this and use art as the main feature of my project. Then came research and survey. Adolescence is a very human experience, so it was absolutely critical to communicate with my users and get a clear grasp on their sentiments and experiences. After much consideration over what experts I should contact and interview, I realized that my experts surrounded me every day. My peers, classmates, and friends were all adolescents and had their own perspectives and first-hand experiences with these issues. I conducted a survey questioning my peers between the ages of 12 to 17 regarding their most major troubles, insecurities, and stress. Through the survey, over 30 respondents participated, and their answers proved insightful and informative. Through my respondents, I got a good look into the minds of my audience, how they thought, and what issues they encountered. I then based all further research on the survey results. An interesting insight that I found from my survey was that many of us encounter the same issues, whether it be bodily insecurity, family trouble, or academic stress. Adolescents' troubles related to each other, and that insight provided a good basis of what my topics should focus on. The final step was production. After completion of my research and planning process, the final step was production. Since the main component of my project was art, it was absolutely essential to plan the general look of an aesthetic of my product. Through browsing Pinterest, Instagram, and other media apps, I compiled ideal visual elements into a mood board to get a good grip of what my product would look like. Based off my research findings, I then proceeded with the creation of my artworks and completed them all by the end of March. Writing was an additional media component. It didn't take too long to complete, and I released my product at the beginning of April. And with that, my product was launched. You can check out my product through my Linktree by scanning the displayed QR code or by checking out my Linktree on the display on screen. My reflections. Throughout my CV process, I succeeded in the open-minded, self-reliant, and reflective critical competencies. I succeeded in the open-minded because I looked at my fellow adolescents' troubles with a learning mindset. Another significant challenge was insecurity. Throughout this process, I constantly compared my product to others and questioned if my product was meaningful and if it fit the criteria. I constantly worried of what the final outcome would be, but I now realize that worrying and comparing was a futile action. Instead of worrying about what others were doing, I should have used that energy to focus on my own product. The third one was confusion. As mentioned previously, I struggled a lot with drafting my product. There was a lot of confusion during the past few months of CP, which further delayed my process. The top regrets of CP are that I wasn't communicative, goal-oriented, or principled as I thought I could have been. If I could turn back time and give myself one piece of advice, it would be to take my project more seriously and have fun with it. And with that, my presentation is concluded. I'd like to bid a thank you to the viewers who so graciously watched this presentation, and I give a special thanks to my family, teacher, friends, and CP mentor, who all helped me throughout this project. Without them, I definitely wouldn't have been able to complete Trouble Through Adolescence. Thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you, Kinar. What an interesting project. Okay, that was very good reflection. So, and what I like as well is about you say that without reflection, you are not unable to make the presentation. Thank you, Kinar. And please, everyone, give virtual round of applause using a chat room for Kinar. Okay, next, moving on to the next presenter. Okay, please welcome Tokyo Sora.
Okay, Miss, I will be presenting my screen right now. Okay. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tokyo Sora, and today I will be presenting my culminating project called Warna-Warna Remaja. Before I go more into detail on what my project is about, I would like to briefly explain the meaning behind the title. So, what does Warna-Warna Remaja mean? We all know that each color has a meaning to it. For example, blue represents sadness, calmness, peacefulness. Yellow represents joyness, happiness, excitement. Red represents anger, rage, and passion, and so on. It goes the same way with any other color. If we combine the two words, warna-warna and remaja together, it simply means the many color of emotions inside a teenager's mind. And I chose this meaning as for the title is because I'm pretty sure that we all know most teenagers experience mood swings when entering the adolescent stage. At certain times, we don't really know what we're feeling to the point where we can't fully describe that particular feeling. And we are full of confusions and questionings inside our mind. I think that fits perfectly into the definition of this title. So, what is my project about? Warna-Warna Remaja is made out of an interactive zine book that focuses on the issues of adolescents' mental health, impacts and/or effects, as well as the realities of growing up, more detailed onto what it's like to become a teenager. The reason why I chose this topic is because I've always been interested in mental health, and I personally think that this is something that matters a lot to me. I guess I never had a proper platform to speak on my thought about it, and with Culminating Project existing, this was a great opportunity for me to voice on my thoughts and opinions about mental health through the interactive zine book, which I will explain furthermore. The main goal of this project is to raise awareness on mental health and being a reminder that mental health issues isn't something that is negative. I've mentioned previously that my product is an interactive zine book, and my role as a writer here is to be myself, meaning that I will provide and deliver informations from the perspectives of a teenager. I, myself, feels very realistic, honest, and sincere. The SDG goal that I chose for my project is goal number 3, which promotes good health and well-being. These are the Cikal competencies I apply on my project. Number 1 is commitment, because I am fully committed into starting, and I know that I am heavily responsible with it. Number 2 is action-oriented. Number 3 is innovative, because I created a variety of ideas throughout the process. And number 4 is communicative. I take this project as something to practice with communicating and interacting with other people. And I also, of course, had to contact my mentor every single week, which makes it a part of daily communications. Moving on into the main highlights of this project is the investigation. After I decided which topic I'm going to choose, I start off by researching. I watch lots of YouTube videos and also movies and read a bunch of articles. Then I gather them all into a Google document. After that, I made a Google Form survey so that I can know from the perspectives of my targeted audience, which are teenagers. And all of the responses really surprised me in a good way because there were a variety of answers. It was very diverse from the same age. Knowing that makes me feel more confident to continue on my project. I also had to interview 3 experts in the field of psychology. The first person was Miss Mita. She is a counselor in Cikal Serpong. And here we discuss about what mental health actually is and how it can make a big impact not only to teenagers but to every age. The second person was Miss Mutia. She is a founder of Art Therapy Jakarta. And here we discover together and break down the connection of art and mental health and how art is a great alternative therapy for our mental well-being. Last but not least was Kak Aina. She is a psychology student in Universitas Indonesia, and we talked a lot about the importance of mental health surrounding youth. And I also asked her about her experiences being a student, a university student to be more exact. Once I have finished all of the research, I started to plan on my product. I made a Pinterest mood board to collect all of my references and inspirations for my zine layout so I can get a better imagination on how I want my zine to look like. And then I project them into the digital drawing app Procreate to begin making the sketch draft. Now, as you can see here, the general idea I had for my zine is a scrapbook themed. So I did all of the handwriting by myself and not typing digitally, but like manually handwritten or manually writing. This is the color and illustration test I did for my zine and the pre-final. You can see that I use lots of colors here, and I did that because to connect with my title being Warna-Warna Remaja. That all comes into actually 2 products. So aside from the zine book, I also made a workshop where I invite middle school and high school students to express themselves or their current state and feelings through art. This was more of a therapeutic and stress relief session. And then the main product, of course, was the zine book that I've mentioned multiple times. This is the example of the interface from the website. This is one of the contents I put on my zine. And as you can see here, I did not only include writings and informations, but also illustrations that are still related to the topic I chose. Over here is the QR code where it will directly lead you to my link tree, which include the product and also the Google Forms, where you can give feedbacks on my product. So you can directly scan it over here. Moving on to the challenges I faced during Culminating project, number 1 was definitely time management, because at the same time, I also had to focus on my other assignments, which made me hard to juggle in between works, and to the point where I had to stay up late until midnight to either finish my CP product or my assignment. But since I'm good at time management, I ended up overcoming my struggles. So I would say this was 50-50. What can I reflect from my culminating project? First and foremost is definitely to improve my communication skills, especially during the workshop because it was my first time holding a workshop, let alone leading it, and I was nervous most of the time. So, yeah, I would like to develop more on public speaking. Next is to manage time more wisely and efficiently. And by this, I meant that I could have actually started my product earlier so I can finish it faster as well. And to sum up all of that, I would say that culminating project is an experience that expands my comfort zone. I have never done something this big before in my whole 15 years of life, so this was very challenging but an exciting time for me. That wraps up my culminating project. Thank you for listening. I would like to give a special thanks to my mentor, Miss Gea, who have guided me from the very beginning until the end of CP. And a big thank you to my family and friends as well. I couldn't have gone this far without their support. That is all for me, and have a good day, everyone.
Wow, what a great project, Tokyo. All right, everyone, and please give a virtual round of applause for Tokyo. You can give a pause on the chat room. That was a very interesting project. Okay, now let's moving on to the next presenter. Please welcome Emir Atilla.
Hello everyone. My name is Emir, and this is going to be my CP presentation about my CP project. It's about railway reactivation, which in short is essentially the revival of old railway lines due to many reasons, such as, let's say, interest in the public or other things. Hold on. A bit of an introduction. Indonesia's railway was once the backbone of intercity and logistics transports, and its network is larger compared to now, which has mostly reduced its size since the 1980s. Although its creation was for different goals, some close railway lines pass near or on some of Indonesia's greatest landscapes and attractions. Although this is the case, even this doesn't save them from issues such as financial issues and the arrival of cars and the development of roads, which make traveling by cars easier, which is one of the reasons why they are closed. So, why did I choose this as my topic for CP? These railways being reopened might have a chance to be successful today, especially when the perks of reopening these railways are also to provide another form of transport for the lines located just near a well-known attraction or a business center out of town that's usually hard to reach by cars due to traffic jams. Essentially, it might be beneficial for everyone to use it, especially now when people are starting to campaign more on using public transportation. Other than that, it can also benefit the local population to go around their regions with comfort, especially when they're very deep within the country and then going around places might take a while. My goal in the CP project is to gain public interest in railway reactivation, especially when based on my survey, people are very keen about it, and providing easy access to major tourist destinations and also give riders new sceneries along the way if these railways are opened. Other than that, it's also giving people the areas where railway lines operate a new form of intercity transport other than cars or buses, essentially another alternative form of railway lines. In short conclusion from that, these railways can help bring people around while also passing through some of the most spectacular spots on the move. Not only help people get around, but also boost tourism with perks of the journey, and also help moving around the logistics to places that usually takes more time due to traffic jams and other things as well. The competencies I reach in this CP, since I have to mention this as well. Skillful and effective thinker. I took innovative in that competencies. This matter would help and benefit people in the region where these railway lines operate, especially when this CP is about getting more interest in this topic. And the second one is empowering member of just, sustainable, and peaceful global society. And I pick action oriented. This work is made to encourage people to take action on the matter as it actually interests them and might work out. Yes, this CP is mostly based upon people's actions, and that's why I picked that as my competencies. And then the final one is self-regulated learners. It's committed. It's about me. It's about me now. As this is a CP project, I try to make it the way I want it to be. So the subject is mostly about the things I'm interested in, and also something that might help people out if the actual end goal of my CP is actually reached. Process and source finding. I collected sources through surveys, news, YouTube, slides, whatever I can grab enough information from so many people, see if they would find railway reactivations useful or not. Other forms of information finding we did was from news or information sites that covers railway reactivations in one of their articles, or maybe YouTube videos like people explaining the history of the railways and why I find interesting from them, especially from the lines that actually pass through major attractions. Challenges along the way while making this. It's mostly one of my biggest challenges is trying to find people for sources. Since usually doing interviews and everything might work, but I think doing normal research is already enough. All I need to do is just to find people that see if they are very interested in working on see if they're interested on this reactivation thing. Here is a short video of my product. I will not be going through the whole of this thing, since I already have the video on a QR code that will be available when the exhibition is running. So this will be just a 1-minute sneak peek.
Indonesia memiliki berbagai metode transportasi umum, pesawat terbang, kereta api, bis, dan angkutan umum. Masyarakat bisa memilih transportasi yang paling nyaman untuk berpergian. Tahukah kamu, kalau dulu kereta api adalah metode transportasi favorit untuk berpergian antar kota. Hal ini karena jalur kereta api bebas macet dan juga tepat waktu. Berbeda dengan menggunakan mobil atau bis, kerap macet dan membuat perjalanan menjadi lebih lama. Namun, semakin berkembangnya zaman, pembangunan jalur transportasi darat kian berkembang. Pembukaan jalan, perbaikan akses darat dan antar kota, dan pembangunan.
Okay, I think that's already 1 minute. Let's move on. My overall reflection. The CP has been a very tiring one. Since the whole term, I've been focusing on CP a lot more than my stuff on this project through this third term. Essentially, this topic has been very interesting to me, and I think it's one of my biggest driving forces of actually working on the CP and moving forward than me doing all my schoolwork. Other things that will make a difference is me probably considering what the end result would be, because I think the initial part of my topic finding, and when I approved of this topic, I kind of was like wondering what would happen if I finished it, like what's the end result will be. And I think the first thing I was thinking was actually doing the action more directly and actually trying to convince any actual railway management to actually try and reopen these railways. But I think that's a bit too far for me, and I don't think that's in my capacity to do it. So what I can only do now is doing public awareness, and that's what I can do right now. And this is what the CP is about, essentially. Yeah. Thank you very much for looking at this presentation.
Thank you, Emir, for sharing your CP journey. And please, everyone, give virtual round of applause for Emir. All right, now let's moving on to the next presenter, and please give warm welcome for Sarah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sora, and this is the presentation for my project, which is Culminating. The name is in French and is a rough translation to first outfit, and it shows that it should be in French since the country is known for fashion, and my project is kind of linked to a game that is set in a region that is based on the country. Okay, so for the issue I chose to tackle for my project is fast fashion, which is making clothes based on current trends or catwalk designs, and then a brand would sell them at stores where the demand is high. This gives the company profit and sales, which is beneficial, but it also risks in the environment, and usually the remaining clothes that aren't sold are usually dumped at landfills or water, and the clothes are manufactured at factories, which are one of the large causes for air pollution. So my project goal is to make a cosplayer costume from unused or old clothes, and then that kind of contributes to slow fashion, which is the opposite of fast fashion. And while the production for slow fashion is usually slow, it also focuses on helping the environment. So it's kind of like more better than the other one. For choosing my product, it wasn't very hard since beforehand I wanted to make a costume by myself. So I just linked the two together into what this is. This is my This is my project's timeline. For the confused part, it was because I didn't really know where to start. But eventually I kind of got to it and just begun with the concepts, which is sketches, drafts, and such. After that, I interviewed some people, and there was costume making, and then object it. So for focusing on those parts, I did research from Gmail interviews, two were from Gmail. One of them was an audio interview. Then I watched tutorials on YouTube for making patterns and also sewing on the smaller detailed areas, and also doing the same thing except on blog posts and guides from text. For doing the actual thing, I wanted to do hand sewing at first, but eventually just decided to go with using a sewing machine since it is more convenient and saves more time. These are some of my concepts before making the costume. there is a sketch draft which includes all of the things I want to add into my final design, although not all of them made it through. And I also made a prototype so that I can test whether or not the patterns were accurate. For gaining the materials, I used the old clothes that I had at first, but then eventually it turns out that there wasn't really enough old clothes, so there was open donations which came from my parents' friends, and there was enough for the costume, but there were multiple skirts and they are still laying around in the house. But yeah, that's how the materials came through. And for the final result, during the production, more time was more on the skirt since it was the most detailed out of the outfit, and while the stockings were purchased online. For the hat, glasses, and shoes, I had them before I made the project, so it was great. For launching my project, which is necessarily sharing it to the other people, I made 2 sites on Wix.site and Cardco. Originally, there was supposed to be only one on Card, but it had a limit set for free accounts, so I just went on and made a longer site on Wix. There's also a campsite for more easier access to go for both, and also includes a feedback form. For the character that I chose to make my costume from is Serena from Pokemon X and Y. The reason why I chose her is because some dialogue she has in the game say that she's a fashionista. Like, for example, she says that when she was traveling around Kalos, that is where the game is based on X and Y, she said that she wanted to go to every boutique there is, and also has a sort of ability that lets her deduce what some information about people based on their fashion choices. For why I chose her when it comes to the character design, it was because it was simplistic, but people who are generally familiar with Pokemon can recognize her. And also because I like red and black color palettes. There's also sort of like a personal connection, I feel, since we both like fashion, except I don't shop often because usually they have high prices. For the Chico competencies I chose to focus on, there was self-reliant, action-oriented, intelligent, especially the first 2. Since self-reliant, I did most of the things by myself, and action-oriented because it was a sort of like hands-on experience. The challenges that I had during the project was time blindness, which is basically when I think that it's been around like 3 hours, but it was actually 30 minutes long. It's similar to bad time management, except it's more relating to the brain and such. And also because sometimes eventually it felt like kind of repetitiveness, so it kind of got more boring, but it was also pretty cool. And also, speaking of sewing, there was trial and error, such as when the fabrics don't match up. And when I was making the design, I wanted it to be a sort of ideal or perfect beginner costume, as in like more details, but it was kind of hard to apply since I didn't really know how. But eventually, I either just managed how to do it or just leave it all out. Or if I could go back and redo it all over again, I would want to start more earlier so then I can have more time on the other parts of the project. And also that time limits won't bring me pressure and as a result give me stress. And also maybe do research on influential revolutionary fashion designers since they're known for their clothes in various ways. So I think it would be interesting to see how they rose to fame. And yeah, that's basically my presentation for my culminating project. There is the link and QR code if you're interested. And merci et au revoir. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing your journey of city project. And please, everyone here, give virtual round of applause for Sarah on the chat. Okay. All right, now let's moving on to the next presenter. It's Faye, and Faye is already prepare a video to tell and to share about her journey on making her CP project.
Good afternoon, I'm Faye. I would like to tell you about my Culminating project, a novella about friendship, poverty, and inequality, titled Flying Roses. The project goals are first, to raise awareness about inequality and poverty that happen surrounding us. Second, to use fiction as an engaging medium to make people understand a real-world phenomenon that is often complicated. The issues are: I live in a gated community, a housing compound that is too exclusive and segregates the inhabitants from the rest of the community. Yet, gated communities are dependent on people to support them. They are often not paid well, creating more inequality. Inspiration. I was shocked and deeply moved as I heard about the story of Fitri, who dropped out of school during the pandemic and became a domestic worker. She is just 14 years old, which is exactly my age. She becomes the inspiration for the character of Rosa in my novella. The details about poverty I got from our family's domestic worker, Mbak Naya. My book project deals with the following subjects: social studies, sociology, development studies, and English literature. It also relates with 4 Cikal competencies as follows: caring, action-oriented, reflective, and communicative. I have done initial research on the topic of inequality in urban areas and the power of education to fight inequality. I interviewed 2 experts, Riza Aryadi from Yayasan Pemimpinan Anak Bangsa and Tante Temi Miranda, a social scientist. I also interviewed the workers of a gated community, including 2 domestic workers and 1 security guard. I also did a survey to find out about people's preference in fiction with a poverty theme. The process started in August 2021 when I selected the theme among other ideas. I did the interview in November 2021. I started writing the novella in January and launched it in March 2022. The challenges in finishing the book project were how to make a serious social issue such as poverty interesting for young readers. At the beginning, I had little knowledge about school dropouts, income inequality, middle class, and poverty in Indonesia, but I gained invaluable insights from my interview with the experts. I also heard firsthand. Thank you so much for your attention, especially to those who have read my novella. I am looking forward to your feedback.
Okay, that was very interesting book, Faye. And that is the sharing of this video. Faye explained about her CP journey. Okay, and please everyone give virtual round of applause for Faye on the chat. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay. With all that, all of the presenter have been done presenting their journey. Next up, I would like to invite all of the audience to ask a questions to the presenter and write it on the chat room. Okay. And now let's begin the question and answer session. Okay. All right, and please, everyone, the presenter, you may turn on your camera. Okay, Emir. Okay. While waiting for the questions from the audience, well, actually, after I saw all of your amazing CP journey, I have a question for all of you in here, okay, regarding about the CP project. Okay, so what I want to know is, what is the most valuable thing that you found throughout this project? Maybe you can start with Tokyo or Kinar or Emil or Sarah. Tokyo. Okay, I'm going to start with Tokyo. What is the most valuable thing that you found during the CP project?
There's actually a lot missed because not only did I did research, but I also interviewed the experts as I've explained in the presentation. And since there's a lot, I would actually just like to sum it up that mental health is actually something that's very important and I feel like also relevant, especially nowadays during the pandemic. People are starting to become more self-aware and not only to their own mental state but to surroundings as well. And yeah, since I wrote a zine, I wanted to deliver it in a simple way so that people can absorb the informations and the contents more easily. And yeah, I guess the main point is that everyone experienced this once in a lifetime, no matter what age you are, and it's completely normal and it's something that shouldn't be seen as a negative way or something to be ashamed of.
Okay, thanks, Tokyo. All right, so how about Kinar? Okay, well, actually, there's already a questions in here, but let's ask Kinar first. How is your valuable discovery throughout the CP journey?
I think my most valuable discovery during my CP journey was that everybody has their own problems. Like my whole topic was about troubles in adolescence, right? And everybody has their own personal problems. They have, family issues or insecurities. And I feel like it was like really important for me to learn that for my CP, and it was eye-opening in a sense. So yeah, that's my answer.
All right, thank you, Kinar. Okay, so I have Pandu Sumantri, right? It's asking for questions in here for everyone here. He's asking about describe your feeling right now in one word. Okay, maybe we can start with Emir.
I feel relief.
Relief. Okay. How about you, Sarah?
Pain.
Sorry?
Pain.
Pain. Okay. Right. Thank you, Sarah. Okay. How about you, Tokyo?
I feel very relieved so far because I have finished all of this CP journey finally.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Tokyo. How about you, Kinar?
I think I'm very relieved about that all the CP stuff is over, and also very nervous because of the presentation and stuff. But yeah.
Okay. Yes. We still have exhibition, right? Tomorrow, but at least the presentation is done. Okay, one more questions for everyone here from Miss Dira. How do you think your community could benefit from your project? Okay, who's gonna go first to answer the questions? Or I think I can choose one of you. Emir,
Yes, what's the question again?
how do you think the community could benefit from your project?
Oh, I think it could benefit by approaching what my goal is basically to encourage the government to actually reopen more railway lines, especially if that's in my CP. And yeah, I think since also people are very interested in this topic, even if no one has ever asked them anything about it before, I think it will work out. That's it, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Emir. Yeah, so how about Tokyo in here?
What can the community benefit, right?
Yes.
I want the readers, when they read my zine, to feel like somewhat connected with the zine itself, especially to teenagers, since the teenagers are my targeted audience. And for maybe adult readers, those who are adult reading my zine, I want them to, understand maybe and feel more aware of the situation, like especially if they have child at the age of teenagers, or like starting this adolescence phase. Maybe it can help like for them to understand better, like, oh, most teenagers feel this way nowadays and such.
Okay, thanks, Tokyo. Okay, so how about Sarah? How do you think the community could benefit from your project?
I guess like maybe the influence to make their own clothes from ones that they don't use anymore, or maybe they just regret buying it.
Okay, I see. Thanks, Sarah. Okay. Last in here, Kinar.
I hope that when my audience reads my product, they can relate to my content and can like appreciate the art. And so I hope my product like contribute some like comfort to those going through like adolescence and stuff, like that they're not alone with their issues.
Very good. All right, thank you, Kinar. Okay, so actually I have one more questions. Maybe one of you can, answer this question, because I see some of you say that you have a difficult, you have a problem with the time management, right? So I was kind of like curious how you overcome those challenge. I guess you can start here. Who's gonna answer? Or Tokyo, Emir, Sarah, or Kinar? All right, so maybe I'll go with Tokyo, because I remember Tokyo say that because there's a lot of school assignment. You need to manage your time very well.
I actually had to kind of force myself to stay up late past midnight to finish my CP, because it is actually very hard, because every day we get announcement that, oh, there's this new assignments, or there's a new summative, don't forget to check it out, and etc. And I think that adds up more pressure for me personally. I don't know about the others, but so I just had to rush in quick, and eventually I did finish the product in time, thankfully. So that's all from me.
All right, Thank you, everyone here. Thank you for all right. So okay. Thank you for answer the questions, and thank you for the audience here who already asking the questions. All right. Thank you for all the questions and feedback for all of the presenter. It's very delightful to see such impactful and powerful project during this CP presentation. Let's give all of the presenter today another virtual round of applause and word of encouragement for their achievement. Okay, I would like to remind you all again that all of the CP talk will continue to another session, and please check the YouTube channel of Sekolah Cikal Official for the another talk of the culminating project event. So the event, it doesn't stop today. We hope to see you all again later in next session and also tomorrow. There will be an exhibition and CP talk for year 9 students. So everyone can live stream on CP exhibition Sekolah Cikal official YouTube. Lastly, I would like to say thank you one more time to all of the audience here, the mentors, fellow students, proud parents, and also respected guests. Thank you for having me as your host, and good afternoon. See you in the next CP talk. Thank you.